So speaking of government getting involved where it should not be, Biden apparently is banning US sales of the antivirus software called Kaspersky. And this is not just like any run-of-the-mill antivirus. It's one of the most popular antivirus programs out there right now. And so the article is talking about has plans to ban the sale of the antivirus software made by Russia's Kaspersky Labs in the United States, saying it poses a significant security risk. My couple questions from like a technological standpoint is first, how do they plan on doing that? Like, I can buy software from other countries. Like, am I going to be banned from going to the site? Is the site not going to be available in the United States for purchase? Like, how do you ban that kind of purchase? Like, I can see banning, like, although I'm against it, TikTok, say, from the Google Play Store or from the Apple App Store, because you have control over that. But like, how do you ban the sale of software that's like available online? Like, I just don't see how that works. But I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just like a technological
I would
idiot,
imagine that if this is a U.S. legitimate ban, then Microsoft and Apple have to not allow it to be installed.
Oh, you think? You think you could put it at an OS level?
They could find people that say, if they're going to make it a ban and it's a security risk, like they're saying, they could find Microsoft and say, you don't put this on a machine. So it could SERP up credentials that gets to Azure, to whatever, So like, if it's truly this like theoretical threat to humanity or the U.S. way of life, truth and justice in the American way, then they have to ban it everywhere.
Yeah.
And then they have to make sure the OS people don't install it. If we're going to have banned list of apps.
Yeah, I wonder if they could also do something with like IPs or something too, though, because it obviously, so it's an antivirus, right? So it must need to be updated a lot, right? Sure. So I'm guessing if you if you made the product so bad that you had to somehow like run a VPN to update it or whatever, that would kind of suck. So I guess you just make it, maybe it's banned through inconvenience.
Through inconvenience. I could see that. Yeah, for sure.
Government institutions won't buy it. There'll be no government institutions.
For sure.
If you're somehow attached to the federal government, you're running any kind of like financial transactions, they can write FINRA laws to keep people from doing it. So no banks, nobody else could do it. So only Sarah, Kevin, and me can install Kaspersky in the whole United States.
So maybe it's a soft ban. Great. It's a soft ban on Kaspersky.
Yeah, and like from truth, justice, and the American way point of view, like, sure, if you're so concerned about it, and this is the same kind of thing I have with beef I have about banning TikTok, is if you're so concerned about like the security of it, sure, you can ban it on computers that you have control over. You can't install it if you have a government job. You can't install it in any government buildings or schools or things like that, like where people have like security clearance and things like that. But for a blanket ban for all of the people in the United States, I think that is such overkill for what you perceive is a security threat. Like, I just don't see the security threat from normal everyday people. And I don't use Kaspersky, so I don't have a dog in this fight. But I do use ESET, and ESET is also not a US based company. And so like, where do they draw the line here? Like, right. They're just going to keep going until like there's no like free enterprise anywhere. It's all just like we've all become like communist states.
Like I said when we did the TikTok last year, I said this is not going to stop. They're going to ban anything they can control, anything that's foreign owned, and it said foreign owned entities. And it'll go worse. They'll try to find a person that's maybe an investor in a company and ban that software they don't like, because that person lives or was born in Russia or China or whatever the country that they don't like this week is. And then they have complete control to, dictate this software industry, which has been free and open to this point. The thing that they should say, the government should say, Kaspersky is dangerous because, and then show us why. Show us where they're delivering malware to people's customers. And I can guarantee if they could prove that and show that, ain't nobody buying it. You can ban it that way.
Exactly.
But they don't have that.
Yep.
What's happening? It's the same thing I said about TikTok. Like, tell me exactly what they were doing. What is the scenario? What could happen? And then most people will go, yeah, that's kind of bad. Like, I don't think I think I'm uninstalling TikTok right now, but they don't do that. They just say it's bad because it's owned by Russia.
Security threat.
Yeah.
Well, they're just saying security threat, but you're right. They've been non-specific. Yeah, I mean, they're not specific in this one, right? They haven't told us exactly why it's a security threat. They're just generically told us it's a security threat. I'm wondering if the actual security threat, just like I wonder if TikTok is the same deal, that it's so benign that we wouldn't even think of it as a security threat. The average person would just be like, well, duh, of course it does that. Because it's like, it collects all your data. Well, duh, yeah. so does Instagram, so does Facebook, so does every other product I use on my phone. Oh, but it's going to a foreign country, therefore we should care about that. Well, nobody will, so therefore we wouldn't self-ban it. We wouldn't self-police, right? Because we don't care if China's collecting all the information from TikTok. The average person does not care about that. As long as they can see their cat videos, that's all we care about.
But they need to do a better job of educating the public and tell us what. That's why I don't know if there's actually anything, especially in Kaspersky. I don't think there is.
That's my point.
I think there's security researchers out there that would have known this a long time ago if this was a malware delivery platform. Which it's hooked into the OS.
I'm just saying
it's a rootkit.
I'm saying the only issue this thing has is that the data's going overseas. Right. That is the security threat. There is no actual real security threat. It's just that the US doesn't have control of the data. That's the security threat. That's it. Yeah. There's nothing more than that. And if they made that public and just said that, the average person would just be like, well, I don't care.
Yeah. But at least with the FDA, if some lettuce comes out and you can get diphtheria, they tell us, like, eat this lettuce, and then they effectively ban that product for 3 weeks until it's, it's off the shelf.
If you bought it from this time to this time, then that might get real sick.
I mean, they should tell us they should be required to tell us what it is, other than that it has Russian ties.
I'm telling you, that is the only issue.
I know it is.
And that's why they don't tell us, because we wouldn't care. So therefore they wouldn't be able to ban it. Because the average person would just be like, I don't care that the information's going there. I don't care. They can look at whatever's on my computer. There's nothing there. They don't care. And I guess, and that is a wrong thing too, because the average person doesn't understand the implications of that amount of data. So it's not that like overall we shouldn't care that TikTok is sending to China or that Kaspersky is sending to Russia. We should, but we don't see the negatives in that data collection part. Because we don't understand what that data could actually do. The implications of that data, we don't understand. But the US government does understand it. And the reason they understand it is because they collect it and they know what is possible with it because they're doing things with it. Just like they know Russia would do things with it and China would do things with it. They know, and they're not going to tell us that because guess what? It makes them look bad.
Yeah. I'm going to make a prediction.
Like, these guys are doing this, but don't look at us doing it.
Don't look at us.
It's fine.
Exactly.
I'm going to make a prediction here, regardless of who wins the presidency, Trump or Biden in the next one, that they're going to shut a company down, an American company, because of some tie. And it's not going to be legit in any way, shape, or form. And we're going to say, so now the government can just shut down whatever company they want because they don't like them. Yes. They'll find a guy that said, well, his third grandmother was born in Russia. His third one? Yeah, well, there was a split marriage and, it's like,
I could see that happening. So, I agree. I could see that happening. That's not super far-fetched.
And the guy's like, come on, man. I was born in California. I mean, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but you made a trip to Russia once and you made a phone call to this guy. Therefore, we don't trust
like you. You're banned.
You guys, they're going to shut down the Not Null podcast. We have ties to Paul.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Oh, that's a problem.
Darn it.
That's it. So
shoot.
We have to release Paul now. We got to do it. The government said.
Paul, sorry. That's why he's not here today.
Yeah, he's not here today. Yeah.
We've banned
the US
him.
government's had words with him, and he's just going to not show up anymore.